Woo!
Well, good morning, Service Alliance community. How's everybody doing out there today?
And
We've got a
doing?
great topic today.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing
How's
all right.
everybody else out there doing? Go ahead and chime in. Oh, we lost Jason. He had to take a phone call, I bet. He was waiting for a phone call from his son that he has to take. So I'm sure that's why he's out. He'll be back very, very shortly.
Nope.
Glad to see everybody here.
My camera just quit.
Oh,
Nope. For some reason, my camera just quit. It wasn't the phone
I
call.
thought you had to take that call from your son. So,
Yeah. We'll
morning,
see if it
Adam.
happens. We just
Morning,
dropped my
Jerry.
son off to head to Lackland Air Force Base yesterday, and so we're waiting for a phone call. He gets like a this 10-second scripted call. He says where he's at for his mailing address, and then that's it. And it's like, so we've been waiting for that phone call all night, but hasn't happened yet. So if you see me go dark, it should be that. But no, that
That's
was just my camera shut off for a second.
fine. As soon as you went off, I'm like, oh, he's got that
Yeah.
call.
No, I'll be like, if that happens, I'll be like, hey, I'll be right back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh
So
boy,
we have a lot to talk about today.
we do those. Yeah, careful, lovely customers of ours. That's what we're going to talk about today.
The lovely customer types,
Yes,
not
yes.
just customers in general, but customer types.
Customer types and how you can. I tell you what, the cool thing about this is we're going to have a great conversation, and you're going to be able to walk into a customer's house, and within 2-3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes at most, you'll be able to recognize and have a better conversation with them because you'll understand their language and how to talk with them. This goes along really well. I'm a disc trainer through Maxwell Leadership, and this goes along what we've got lined up so much with that. As I was looking through this, I'm like, yeah, this is going to be fun. Going to be fun.
Yeah, this fits a lot. It aligns a lot with disc,
Yeah,
actually. So
yeah.
I thought it was great.
That it
All right.
is.
Well, let's get us prayed in, and you can talk to us about what scripture you're going to read.
Sounds good.
All right, Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this day. Thank you for everyone watching. Thank you for everyone who will watch this. I pray that we go out there and we're being fruitful in our day and throughout our interactions with everybody and all these different personality types that we encounter. Give us peace, give us patience, give us understanding to know the difference in personality types and be understanding of what other people may be thinking. And there's always a reason behind why things are the way they are. And sometimes we don't always understand that, Lord. Help us to be patient, kind, and show love throughout our day and our interactions. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Great prayer, Mike. That was good.
Yeah.
So our scripture today, we headed up with 1 Corinthians 9:22. This is the NIV version. And it says, "To the weak I become weak, to win the weak. I have become all things to all people, so that at all possible means I might save some." And you might think, well, that's kind of an interesting scripture, but this one really does a good job of highlighting the importance of adapting our approach to meet the needs of different people. And I think that really aligns well with the concept of tailoring our communication for different client types, right? So that's that is our scripture for today. And
Awesome.
what would we be without a good crappy dad joke, right? So I got 2 or 3 lined up. So we're talking about communication. So I want to hear your best grumble on this one. So what did the salesperson bring? Why did the salesperson bring a dictionary to the client meeting?
I don't know. Why did a salesperson bring a dictionary to the client meeting, Jason?
Because they wanted to make sure they were on the same page.
Rah, rah, rah.
There was a really that dead silence right there. I heard something in the background sound like a clash, but
I feel like we need like sound effects and
yeah,
like some kind of visual effects, like a nuclear bomb going off when we do a bomb of a joke.
yeah, yeah. Well, we were talking about this beforehand. I'm like, "Psh, man, I've got some crappy dad jokes today." So
Well, it's our MO.
yeah,
We can't make everybody laugh all the time.
that's for
But
sure.
they must be glutton for punishment because they keep
They
coming
keep
back for
coming
more.
back.
You know,
Well,
I think
all
it
right.
says more about our listeners than it does about us.
Ooh, that's
Ooh,
painful.
yeah. We're talking about different personality types today. So
True. All right. Well, let's start with the first one, which is identifying different client types. Um, so the first one we're calling it the know-it-all, and this is more of that that dominant type of conversationalist, right? It's the homeowner who they've researched extensively. They want to demonstrate their knowledge. They want to validate their research. They want to show their expertise with uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Uh, Condescension, I think is a good way to put it. Focus on the collaboration rather than correction. Dominant people in the conversation, they tend to be very direct, very strong-willed. Um, yeah, so they're interesting to have a conversation with. That's for sure. And we're going
they're
to get
more the type
into
A personalities.
very type A, and we're going to be getting into a little bit how to talk to these different types of personalities as we go down a little bit. But right now, we're just kind of identifying them. So you walk in the door, the know-it-all. This type is going to be very quick. I just want it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it over with. How much is it going to cost? Just get it fixed, right? So they're going to
They're
be
going
the
to be
quick talkers.
they're going to be the D,
The
right?
big D, yes, the big D.
D personality types. So if you guys out there don't know what a disc profile, DISC, look it up and take they're out there everywhere. You can take these personality type tests. You
Yeah,
can get a hold of Jason and he can give you one of those tests. But it helps you identify your own personality type and helps you understand all the different four different primary personality types
hmm
so that you can better understand them and deal with them, and have different approaches because it's amazing at how vastly different everybody really is.
yeah,
So our next one, the anxious newbie. How many times have you walked into a home and you got this anxious newbie? Maybe they're a first time homeowner or they're unfamiliar with home repairs and they need a lot of
hmm
reassurance. Like they're just asking a lot of questions, and they don't, it's their first time. They don't know they just don't know. And they don't know what they don't know. So with these types of people, you need to definitely reinforce their concerns a
yeah,
lot more than you would a regular, like the first type, the know it all.
yeah,
So with these people, you need to use clear, simple language, explain the processes patiently.
hmm
Patiently, that's the key word. And then offer extra support resources like, you know, could be FAQs, blog posts, whatever, different trainings. But that I think for these personality types, these anxious people, I think that's where having a trifold little flyer,
hmm
handout, pamphlet would be really excellent.
yeah,
If you put something like that together and then cater it to these different personality types, you may actually they may look at you like, wow, that's really helpful,
yeah,
and things like that lead to more five-star reviews.
yeah. I created a homeowner's guide I've used for years, and I call it my adult coloring book. And it was just really great to have because it was visual presentations. that I could go through and show them, and then I had a lot of the Q&As that were already answered. So
Yeah.
yes, the anxious newbie. So the next one we got on here is the budget conscious. So it's a client who is they're highly price sensitive, right? And they're always kind of weary of hidden fees or upsells. If you're the type that you go to the dealership and you're like, okay, let me read everything in the contract. Um, is there going to be any additional costs to this, right? So the tips with the budget conscious ones are be upfront about pricing, right? What's included with today's evaluation is this. And if there should be anything else above that, I'm going to come to you and I'm going to get your approval before I move anything further. Is that fair? Right? That's a good phrase to say to them to kind of ease that bubble a little bit. You could offer tiered solutions. So they're the type that they want to have multiple different ways to go about trying to figure something out. So one thing that I really learned in 25 years of doing electrical work is that customers love multiple solutions, multiple options, being able to choose, right? We've talked about the pool billiard store often on here, and if you haven't heard that one, I'll be glad to tell it to you sometime. But they tend to be the ones, not always, but more likely, they're going to choose the middle option almost all the time, and that's okay because they're the
They just
ones
want to be
that choose
empowered
it.
to make it their own choice. That's all they want.
100%. Yeah, they're all about that, the value, right? Maybe they're couponers, and they like the long-term savings of things, over like the immediate cost. So those are your budget conscious type of people. Yeah.
And I mean, they could definitely be the same as the anxious newbie. I mean, they
Mhm.
could be one and the same,
Yeah.
so you got to approach them with extra kit gloves.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, next one we got is one that you're going to love. I mean, hate, because
Love to
everybody
hate.
hates this guy.
Hate to love or love to hate.
Nobody likes this guy. The DIYer gone wrong,
Or gal.
or gal.
Yeah. Gotta love
Clients,
the DIYer.
customers who attempt to repair things themselves, but made things worse.
Yeah.
How many times have you guys had that issue, or gals? But here's the thing, because they weren't successful, these are the people who are embarrassed
Mhm.
that they had to call you. They got in too deep, they're over their heads, and now they're embarrassed. So you need to walk in there with a little bit of empathy, whether you like it or not. You got to have that empathy in the back of your head that, yeah, they're embarrassed and it's a total crap show for them. And definitely try to avoid judgment. They did their best. Focus on offering your solution, getting it fixed, and how your expertise can fix the problem and prevent future issues.
Yeah.
I think with these people, everything goes to education.
Yeah.
These are the people that, they're kind of a combination of the know-it-all. They think that they
Mhm.
can handle it. They know that they have the skills to get in there and tear it apart and try and do something. However, they they overestimate themselves. And don't we all do that sometimes?
Never.
All of
Never.
us do that sometimes. And I mean, maybe they're, the combination of know-it-all, budget conscious, the newbie. They could be all three of those things
Yeah.
and try something themselves.
Yep.
And then they don't realize how complicated something could be. Or maybe they think it's easy and they're like, ah, crap, it's not the part that I just put in. It's
Yeah.
something else. They just misdiagnosed. They don't know the process of proper diagnostics.
Yeah. We got Mr. Tom Harness joining us today. Good morning, Tom Harness.
Morning, Tom. Morning,
Glad you could
Saul.
join us. So, as we start to turn to the next, which is adapting your communication styles, when you, again, when you first walk in the door and they start interacting with you, the dominant type of people, they're going to have those questions of, hey, what's the bottom line? What's in it for me? Type of questions. The I type of people, they're going to ask the who questions. They're focused on results, interacting with people, having fun. They're going to ask questions like, who's going to be at this meeting? Who else is using this? Right? They care about more about the Joneses. So you're going to use a lot of that. Well, I just did the same thing for Mrs. Jones right down the street. She absolutely loves what we did for her. They're going to be caring about that aspect of things. Your S type of personalities, they're supportive and steady. They tend to care about their family. They're the budget conscious ones. They're going to be asking a lot of questions of, how are we going to do this, or how's this going to impact us, right? Um, Not only ask the how questions, but they tend to ask the questions in like plural form, right? How's this going to affect my family, right? So they focus on like preserving relationships. They tend to be really good clients for life. So they're the type that, um, you know, have that great conversation, you know, and you're going to have them for a long time as a client. Then you get to your C personality types. They're the they ask a lot of the why questions. They're the very technical people, right? They ask the why does it work this way? Why is that step necessary? They usually focus on the facts, the rules, and getting it done correctly. So, um, so those are those. As soon as you walk in the door, you can easily kind of see what kind of personality they are by just listening to what kind of questions they may ask, and how they interact with you. So that verbal communication is very important. And a good tip about verbal communication is to mirror the client's pace, their vocabulary. So if you're in EJ's world in Lexington, Kentucky, you may have that, interesting Kentucky draw. If you're in California and you've got a little bit from what we call the surfer attitude, you adapt. If they sit on the edge of the seat, there is a whole other aspect of sales communication with why they may be sitting on the edge of their seat. And there's sales classes you can take for that kind of stuff. But mirror them, right? If they're sitting on the edge of the seat with their hands, mirror them, right? If they're kind of sitting back a little bit, you sit back, right? And there's a whole aspect to that, why you need to do that. So I urge you to take some classes if you don't understand the art of verbal communication when it comes to mirroring and that aspect. Another good tip is just to listen. Ask questions, right? Take notes. I have a list of questions that I always ask. It's like a doctor, right? You go to a doctor's office, the doctor asks all kinds of questions, he takes notes. You're no different. You're there to diagnose a problem. So take notes and ask questions. Hey, Miss Jones, I'm going to be taking some notes here just to kind of help me along with, my memory, especially, or just help me with diagnosing your problem. Is there any issues with me taking notes today? Just check in. Customers love it when you check in with them. Um, so, yeah. And then above all, just summarize their concerns. So, if I understand you correctly, this is the issue that's going on today. And this is really what you need me to, focus in on first, correct? All right.
Yeah, it shows you're listening.
100%.
So our next point is written communication.
Mhm.
You should be using visuals, sometimes photos, diagrams to explain complex repairs or your estimates. They want they want to see what they're paying for.
Mhm.
There's I've never been a fan of just lumping everything on one line. And like a lot of the flat rates do this.
Mhm.
But coming from the automotive collision background that I came from, we itemized everything. And every insurance company, every customer, they knew exactly what the part was going to cost and what the labor for installing that part was going to cost, and then any other ups, extras, incidentals, everything was line itemed. And we could very, very easily justify everything to a customer in that
Mm-hmm.
way. And I mean, this works for warranty companies. It works for, customers paying out of pocket. It doesn't matter what type you do. If you, I've always said, if you line item everything, how can a customer dispute any of it?
Yeah.
Realistically, they can easily dispute a lump sum. Just fix your GE washer,
Mm-hmm.
$450. I mean, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm a firm believer that written communication, especially on quotes, estimates, is really key.
Yeah.
Um, you guys can prove me wrong. I've seen and heard both sides of it. That's just my take. I think that that's a better way to do it. But
100%. Detailed and
um,
descriptive for sure.
yeah, I mean, it just eliminates questions.
Yeah.
When it's really broken down like that, it takes you a
Mhm.
little bit longer, but um, it's and it's something that they can see in writing. You know,
Yeah.
explaining some diagrams. I mean, you might have that guy who's a real techie guy, and he wants that explanation in the technical terms, right?
Yeah.
Show him a diagram, show him the tech sheet. How it all breaks down. They find that stuff interesting.
Yeah.
Um, Make sure that you tailor your emails for the client. Like I said, detailed breakdowns
Mhm.
for the know-it-all. The know-it-alls really want that breakdown, right? um Make sure it's all in simple language. i
Yeah.
think i think a lot of people, especially those of us who are kind of technical and we look at everything as a technical approach,
Yeah.
some of these people just aren't technical. I think most people aren't, and you're talking Chinese right
Yep.
out of the box, and as soon as you go there,
Mhm.
you're gonna know because they're gonna have that deer in the headlights look,
The glazed
and
eyes
you
effect.
need to be able to read their body language and their emotions when you're explaining things,
Yeah.
and then you need to say, okay, I'm going too technical, let me stop. I mean, just tell them that you've recognized that you're going down a wrong path, and let me reiterate this so that it's way simpler. And I had to do this with my own mother-in-law over the weekend, and explain something in such simple terms so that she understood how electricity worked, you
Yeah.
know and I'm like, this isn't hard, but you need to understand it from a completely different perspective.
Yep.
And then she got it,
Yeah.
as far as I know. She may still not get it, but it was the best way that I could try to describe it to her. So,
Yeah. I
um,
had a I had a visual of when trying to explain electricity to people, like the electrical panel is like the heart of your electrical system, and the wiring is kind of like your veins or
your
your nerves that
veins.
go throughout. So, and that always seemed to catch pretty well with people.
I used
Yeah,
the
that makes a
garden
lot of sense.
hose.
The garden hose. Yeah.
Yeah, I use the garden hose as the wire method. So
There you go. I don't
she
know if I've
seemed to
ever heard
relate
that
to
one.
that.
The
Yeah,
garden hose. Okay. So find what works for you. I think that's the biggest thing. Find a visual, and just get rid of the techie talk, like Mike said. You'll lose them. You get that glass side effect. Yeah, you've done lost them. So, which leads us into the power of communication, right? Personalizing that. I'm a big fan of in our area. Getting on a first name basis means you're in good terms, right? In some areas, it's the best polite thing to call them by their last name, Mrs. Jones. But for my area, getting on a first name basis, so it's usually, hey, I see your name is Mike Carson. Is it okay if I call you Mike, right? And they're going to tell you whatever they want to be called. I had one guy one time. I walked in and I said, "Yeah, I can't remember his name. I see your name is Tom Harness here. Is it okay if I call you Tom?" He goes, "No, my friends call me Doc. Go ahead and call me Doc." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You a doctor?" He goes, "No, I just like to be called Doc." I'm like, "Okay." Doc it is, my friend. And so that just set the pace, right? And set the tone for the whole conversation because he just told me, yeah, all my friends call me Doc. So just call me Doc. I'm his friend right there, right from the get go. It was a beautiful thing. So using the client's name, and even getting down to um, when I would be doing work in different rooms, like, okay, this is your son's bedroom. What's your son's name? Jimmy. Okay. So in Jimmy's bedroom, redo the wiring to the ceiling fan, whatever it may be. So using the client's name and being able to that way they can come back and say, okay, he said the northeast bedroom. I'm horrible with directions, even though this is my own house. Oh, Jimmy's bedroom. Yeah, got it. All right. So they get that, right? Reference specific details from past interactions on their property. I remember you mentioned that you wanted to have some more lighting installed in your kitchen because it's kind of hard when you cook, So here's some solutions that I've come up with that. Or, hey, you mentioned that the dryer downstairs has been acting up. One of the things that I found is the way it's venting out is not correct, and I can help you with that, right? Morning, Jojo. So yeah, use specific details from what they have told you, or even past interactions. Hey, you remember last time I was here, we talked about that GFCI in that bathroom not working correctly. Well, now it is causing some other issues, and I made notes of that last time. Maybe we should have that conversation again this time and see if you want me to go ahead and get that fixed for you today. Um, Send personalized follow-up emails. Like if you didn't close on the work today, be sure to send a follow-up email that is personalized. Hey, Jason here with Service Detectives. I really appreciate you having me out. I just want to check in with you and see when you'd like me to come back and do that work for you. Right? I always assumed that I've made the sale. I there's some again sales classes out there that there are like the dirty dozen words that you don't want to use because it's just like what everybody else uses in their emails and in their follow-ups, right? So
Mhm.
I never say, "Hey, I want to follow up with you," right? I just want to check in with you or, "Hey, when would you like me?" Just go ahead and assume the sale. When I have that one-on-one conversation, when I'm going over solutions, it's like, when we do this for you, this is what it's going to be like, not if we do this for you. Because I like to go ahead and assume that they want me to do the work for them because I've done a great job of talking with them and showing them that I am the guy that to do this work. We are the company to do this work for you, right? So,
I
and
think
then,
honestly, this is where a lot of companies drop the ball.
yeah,
And maybe it's just because they never thought of it. But they go
yeah,
to the house, they do that service call, they don't make the sale on the repair, and then they collect their service fee and then they
mhm,
leave.
yeah,
And wonder or hope that maybe they'll get called back.
yeah,
And they don't. But if you're not following up with that customer via phone, email, text, whatever it may be, or all of those methods, you're no longer in their mind.
yeah,
If you're the
for sure.
first one there and they're wanting to get a second opinion, once that second person shows up, that's the last person in their mind, not you.
Yeah, yeah,
So guess who's probably going to get that sale?
yeah,
And maybe they're a better salesperson than you are. But if you're not following up, what if that person's late for their appointment? But because you followed up, you're the more professional company. Maybe they'll call you back instead. So I would try this definitely. I think it's a really missed opportunity that most of you guys are missing out on.
yeah. So I think this is a good point to say. I've said it before, and it's been a while since we talked about it, but um, I actually looked up the average cost back when we were doing this. The average cost for us to obtain a new customer is about $250, right? So think about it this way: um, you go to a customer's house, you need a 8 foot extension or 8 foot step ladder. You go to your big box store, your local store, and it costs you about $250 to get that ladder, right? You take it to the job, you use it, and once you're done with that job, you pitch it in the dumpster and you move on to your next customer. Well, guess what? That customer's house, what do you need? You need an 8-foot ladder. So you go back to the store, you pay another $250, you go do the job, and when you get done with that, you throw it in the dumpster and you move on to the next one. That's basically what you're doing if you're not doing some of these steps that we're talking about. You're just throwing away money because every time you go to that customer's house, it's costing you or your company roughly about $250. It may actually be costing more in today's world to obtain a new customer. So think about that. Everything you do, every little part of that interaction is very important because, like in the electrical world, a homeowner only calls an electrician once out of every 9 years. So for me, that $250 investment to obtain them as a customer is very important because I may not see them again for another 9 years. So that's why service agreements helps to get in their door, to get in front of their face. That's why sending a personalized follow-up thank you card or a gift or an email, whatever may be those touch points, right? Get them involved with giving you a Google review, or hey, while we're here, we do a lot on social media. What's your favorite social media channel? Oh, Facebook, man, we love Facebook. Here, let me get you on our Facebook page real quick. Here, open up it, just click like right here, and you could follow us. Right, we have all kinds of fun stuff on there. Right, little tips to get them to where they're constantly seeing you, and um, to help get them where they need you back in their house, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
not just about them needing you again. It's
Their friends,
their friends,
whoever. Yeah.
referrals, their neighbors, things like that. So it's not just about them. But you've got to make them raving fans,
Yeah.
right? And you're not going to
Client
make anybody a
cheerleaders.
raving fan if they're not following you and you're not in their face and they're not being reminded of who
Yeah.
you are and what kind of company you are, So
100%.
let's talk about building trust through effective communication. Be transparent about your pricing and timelines.
Yep.
Set realistic expectations right from the start. I think
Yeah.
that's where I think that's the key thing. Set realistic expectations. And I mean, who can argue when somebody sets real expectations right up front? It just eliminates arguments. It eliminates confusion immediately, right out of the box. And no one can say that you're not being transparent. Whether they like it or not, it is what it is. So I think that's really key. You kind of set the tone.
Yeah.
Right there. So obviously do it in a good way, the best approach that you can, because they may not like it.
Mm-hmm.
But depending on what it is, it shouldn't be a big deal, in most cases. Proactively communicate any delays or changes to the project scope.
Yeah.
If additional parts are needed, misdiagnosis. I mean, own it. Own the mistake, right? Own that you couldn't get the parts in time.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to order something and it took longer than a couple of days before you can get back out there, just proactively communicate. Over communicate if you have to. No one's ever been fired for over communicating. Address their concerns promptly, honestly, and offer solutions and alternatives.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always a solution, even if you can't get a part quickly. Maybe you can get an aftermarket one quickly, but at least offer the solution, offer the alternative, let them make the choice, and be open with them about what the differences are. Right?
Yeah.
I
like to
used to
say,
have to do this all the time in the collision industry. We can't get your fender. It's on a 2-week back order, but I can have an aftermarket one here tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's going to be cheaper. It's going to have the same warranty. It may not be 100% the same quality, but it's going to be damn close, or we're going to warranty it the same.
Yeah.
It's
That's
all in the way you approach it.
I always like to say under promise and over deliver.
Yep.
Yep.
Always.
It's good. So we got a little bonus tip for you this week, and that's leveraging technology for communication. So utilizing online booking systems, automated appointment reminders, customer feedback surveys. There are so many things in today's digital world that you can utilize if you're using a CRM like House Call Pro or ServiceWorks. There's tons of them out there nowadays. You can book online, right? There's a lot of those techie C type of people that they don't want to talk to you in person. They don't want to talk to you over the phone. They just want to send a text or they just want to go to your website and be able to book from there. So be sure that you're offering that. If they can go on there at 2 a.m. in the morning and they can book an appointment for you to come out the next day, they're going to like that because are they going to get that from your competitor? More than likely not.
I'm that
So,
type of guy.
yeah, Mike's
I'm
your.
definitely, and I'll tell you, when I go to a website and there's no way for me to do that, it
Mhm.
frustrates the hell out of me.
Mm, there you go. There's your client right there. He's letting you know what he likes and what he doesn't like. There's one type, right? So me, I like the text. I like to text and say, if I've got to make a phone call, I'll make a phone call. Shayna, oh yeah, no, she's a D type personality. She don't want to have to talk to anybody if she don't want to have to talk to anybody. It's like if she's got to call and talk to you for 5, 10 minutes, yeah, you're probably not going to get her work. So, a big thing during COVID and still even after this post-COVID world is virtual consultations. Having the ability to set up a Zoom, call or if you're okay with FaceTiming or even through Facebook Messenger, they have that video option, right? But I would definitely use a service similar to Zoom, so your technicians aren't giving out their personal information or as such, but a Zoom type of consultation. Um, that's going to help you to assess problems remotely. It's going to help you provide those initial estimates. So if you've got people who are just like window shopping and you kind of get that vibe that they're just getting that window shopping and they're wanting 2 to 3 estimates, it's another way that maybe they want to do business with you. And you never know, just that virtual consultation may, okay, Mrs. Jones, this is something I need to come out and actually do a little bit further diagnosing in person. I can get that set up for you, today at 2 or tomorrow at 9, which is better for you. And then from there, it's in their shoes. And I think it's just another step up, man, that we've seen from this post-COVID world. It's really helping a lot of companies out. So
Well, EJ's going through this right now,
yeah,
getting it set up so you can charge for this appointment.
hmm,
You can do it cheaper because you don't have to go anywhere.
yeah,
So it's a viable option, a cost effective option, and you can pre triage the hell out of everything. So you know what you're walking into, if and you can credit, say it's $50, you can take that $50 and credit it towards the actual service call,
yeah,
because you just saved yourself a lot of time
yeah,
by triaging it ahead of time through that uh, Zoom virtual call, and you know exactly what you're walking into. You can order the part, you can have it all in hand
yeah,
and be ready to go, and you can knock it out and exceed that customer's expectations. You
yeah,
know, you cannot. I mean, that goes to offering excellent customer service,
hmm,
or an excellent customer experience at that point.
yeah. Tom makes a couple of good points here. Digital options are like having a 24/7, 365-day technician, I like to say, employee. So it's an investment that's not always a marketing expense. You do have to set it up, or it's like just wasting the money. Having less employees gives the owner less overhead, headaches, and time to focus on working and not in your business. Doing
Yes,
what you do best so we can do the rest.
that's a nice plug.
Ah, well, it happens, you
Yeah.
know. So this
All
has
right,
been good.
everybody.
I
Well,
love
thank you.
communication. Yeah, I love communication. This is one of my favorite topics whenever I'm uh, coaching and mentoring electricians. So, yeah, this was a good one.
Awesome. Well, we will see you next Tuesday. And
Yep.
our
Don't
next
forget.
mastermind is going to be July 20th. We'll have the registration up here in the next couple of days for that for our all access members. So if you're an all access member of the Service Alliance group, jump in there and keep an eye open for that. And we'll be talking business planning in that one.
Before you go, got to pay the fee. If you found something that is very useful, if you like it, if you got some good notes, pay the fee. And that's as simple as just liking, sharing, subscribing to this, and letting the world know, hey, there's some good stuff on this. You know, Mike and Jason, they kind of know what they're talking about. Well, them and Chat GPT.
If you know anything else, I mean, if you come for anything, just come for the dad jokes.
The
Come for
horrible,
dad
crappy
jokes,
dad jokes. Yes.
you
Yes.
know. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Go out there and crush it.
Have a
Talk
good
to
day.
you later.